BRIARBIND is already a crazy and unique exotic as is, offering double Void Soul damage and increased the Void Soul duration and durability, and allows you to collect the Void Soul for redeploy, letting you have multiple Void Souls on the battlefield. In general, the dot damage from Void Souls with BRIARBIND is already pretty good, but this season's artifact mods offer tons of Strand and Solar bonuses, and if we can incorporate these bonuses to work in tandem with the Void Souls, we can create an amazing build that destroys champions, bosses, and can clear ads, which will make you absolutely carry your fire team with the amount of tools you have in almost every activity that you do. With the Wishkeeper suspending enemies, our Void Souls weakening targets and spreading those unraveling projectiles, and tons of void explosions and solar ignitions. And with all that together, I think we have possibly the best Void Soul build in the game. So let's get to it. So for our Void subclass, we're going to be using the Vortex Nova Bomb, and then for our aspects we have Child of the Old Gods and Feed the Void. Our fragments are going to be Persistence, Vigilance, Harvest, and Expulsion, and our abilities will be Empowering Rift and Void Grenade. The mods on our helmet are going to be Special Ammo Finder and the Solar Strand Dual Siphon. And for our main exotic, the BRIARBIND, we have Firepower and 2 Bolstering Detonation mods. And then for our chest, we have 2 Charged Up mods and Solar Reserves. On our legs, we have Recuperation and 2 Solar Weapon Surge mods. For the bond, we have Powerful Attraction, Time Dilation, and Reaper. Now, for our weapons, we're going to be using Wishkeeper, and in our energy slot, we're going to have Royal Executioner with Incandescent or Reservoir Burst and Envious Assassin. If you don't have this, I believe you can run the exotic mission for Excalibur. I'm not sure if it drops red borders, but the mission is really easy, so if you don't, grind it until you get a good roll I listed. I don't know why I didn't realize this, but I'm editing, and you can just buy them if you have Defiant Engrams, which most of you probably do, so just buy the gun. If you have 10 grams. The mission is quite lengthy, but since it's pretty old, it shouldn't be too much of a problem to run a couple times. And then the power weapons we can use in this build are linear fusion rifles or rocket launchers. Honestly, those are pretty much old reliables at this point. I mean, I don't really like running a machine gun that much. And plus, these two things can do a lot of damage if you don't have anything else available. And lastly, for our artifact, we have Unraveling Orbs, Horde Shuttle, and we also want Flint Striker and Kindling Trigger. So now that I've kind of explained what to put on, I'm going to show you the gameplay loop and how to kind of use the build effectively. First, you're going to want to start this loop by using Wishkeeper, and you're going to start by building up Snare Weaver charges. Once you get the Snare Weaver arrow, you can deploy a rift and shoot the arrow at a boss or group of enemies, and the arrow will cause the Void Soul to be sent at the suspended target's location. And already, just with this small little combo, we have a great way to deal with champions, chunky enemies, and ads. And while the enemies are suspended, the Void Soul will drain them, weakening and disrupting them, accumulating bonus damage as it defeats targets. It's not listed directly in the aspect, but the Void Soul does do more damage against elemental shields that scale with the damage buff that you can obtain from BRIARBIND. So for instance, if you come up against a group of ads that all have a Void Shield, you can send the Void Soul at it and the shield will be gone almost instantaneously. And thanks to Echo of Harvest, killing enemies weakened by the soul will spawn overpowered, giving you unraveling rounds, and you can use this to spread the condition with your bow to further increase the dot damage caused by the Void Soul, which will also spawn in threadlings. Always remember that you can pick up the Void Soul and redeploy it, just in case clearing some ads or defeating a boss takes too long. And another nice thing about this aspect is that defeating targets that are being drained by a Void Soul gives you Rift energy. So in reality, unless you're not in combat, you should never not have a Void Soul that's out draining targets. Now that's all good and well, but this is only the first half of this build. We have our Wishkeeper, but we need a weapon that'll do some real damage, and for that we're going to be using the Royal Executioner. And as I said before, this fusion rifle should have either Reservoir Burst or Incandescent with Envious Assassin. It honestly depends on which one you prefer, but if you're trying to be optimal, run Reservoir Burst for the extra 25% damage. But personally, I like running Incandescent just for the Scorch and Ignition factor because it allows for better ad clear. But again, if you just want damage for like mini bosses or champions, then definitely opt for Reservoir Burst. And because of that Solar Siphon that we have on our helmet, you'll get orbs from this as well, granting you another 8 seconds of unraveling rounds for Wishkeeper. And for bosses, we can use a rocket launcher or linear depending on the situation. And don't forget that our armor mods are also in play here too. Because of those, we'll have a nearly indefinite 17% damage buff to our fusion rifle that stacks multiplicatively with other buffs, like Radiant, which is something you can also get from getting rapid final blows with your fusion rifle. And Bolstering Detonation is useful here too, giving us 70% of our Rift energy on grenade hits on a 7-second cooldown. Now, I've been showing gameplay here, and you can see how effective this build is. There's so much going on, the Void Soul's out, things are being unraveled, I have damage bonuses, and I'm suspending targets. Like, I promise you, if you use this build, you will not be disappointed. Like, it's, dare I say, on par with Solar Warlock, especially in this season. And I know that after this season and when the final shape comes out, we won't have these mods, but I'm pretty sure that regardless if we have the mods or not, it'll still be a really good build to use in endgame content. So I'd say go out and use this build now, especially when it's in its peak form. Go out, go in the Nightfalls, and just carry the whole team, because that's what it does. And again, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about it. Do you hate it? Do you love it? Is there things that I could most definitely change about it? Or share just how much fun you had using it? Well, that's all from me now. I'll see you whenever I decide to upload again.